place I can visit Garsa Whip is in the metaverse. Start your sublight engines. It's time for Rupelp's Podries, a queer Star Wars podcast. Welcome to our final week of Book of Boba Fett chaos. My name is Ollie. I use any pronouns. You can find me on social media at Ollie Fresh with a PH. And my gender this week is pouring one out for the ass out Gamorreans.
Yas and Slay, I'll miss you forever.
Yas and Slay!
Hi, Kings. I'm just so sad. They flew, didn't go high, unfortunately.
I know, they went the opposite direction. Hi, I'm Klaudia. My pronouns are she, her. You can find me on social media at Coulidia says, K-A-L-U-D-I-A says. My gender this week is entering my Carrie Fisher script doctor era because I have had the experience of loving something very much, but it just coming up short in a lot of ways, but it giving me a lot of gay material, but also a lot of material for other things, and then being like, in my head, I have an entire way that I could fix this, and that doesn't happen often, but this show made me think, maybe I want to be a script doctor for a living. And maybe that's a good thing. Anyway, Carrie Fisher, fly high. I
love you looking at an entire TV show and being like, I could fix her.
It's called being a Supernatural fan, Noah.
Someone get the little whiteboard that says days since last Supernatural mention and please set it to 0.
Here's the problem is because I was, when we talked about the Gamorreans not flying high to heaven, I almost said they went to super hell, but I didn't.
I'm Jess. My pronouns are they, them. You can find me on TikTok and Twitter at Kawaii Jessio. And my gender this week is Boba Fett in his fun little robe, except it is the I murdered my husband robe.
And that's so iconic of him. I love the idea of Boba roaming down the stairs with a floor-length satin black gown because the police are here to investigate about his
around the
exactly.
The cuffs and stuff.
I think that he would be wearing the all black one, and then Fennec would be wearing the corresponding all pink one, and they match.
Or alternatively, he is wearing the all pink one, she is wearing the black one, and Cobb Vanth is just woken up and is like, "Whoa, what are you guys wearing?"
Maybe they have
He's
multiple
like,
ones.
whose husband did you kill?
I love the idea that Boba opens his closet and it's like the B movie where he just has 11 copies of the same floor-length robe.
He has that in his armor.
My name is Noah. My pronouns are he, him. You can find me on social media at The Jewish Jedi. And my gender this week is Jin of Arc. It's like Joan of Arc if it was Jenner, so...
Hello, my name is Mel. I use they, them pronouns. You can find me on social media at Melvin Culpa. And my gender this week is Cad Bane. I've just been calling him that, and I think it's funny.
And I agree. And you're so brave for that.
Apparently, it sounds like Lord of the Rings.
Galadriel Bane.
I'm obsessed with the idea of Cad Bane drinking from a magic pool of water and then glowing.
I like Cad Bane played by Cad Bane.
Okay, who
Let me just say this. Oh my god.
Here's the problem.
Here's the
problem. I would love to tell you, but I don't know what character you're referencing, so I can't Google it.
Please tell me.
No.
Okay. Yes. No, you guys.
CB. Just like Kate Blanchett is CB. Kate Blanchett should play Cad Bane.
She should not play Satine. She should play Cad Bane.
All people who have fucked Obi-Wan.
On person. However, I'm so stupid that the only name that could come to mind was Gwyneth Paltrow.
No. Cad Bane's vagina candle.
Cad Bane selling Goop is so good.
Let's talk about Book of Boba Fett. Book of Boba Fett's over. For those of you who didn't know, today's going to be a bit of a wrap-up episode. So we've seen it all. We've absorbed. We'd had a little time to process. Today we're going to talk about the show as a whole and about things we like, things we didn't like, just fun additions to the Star Wars canon, larger narrative stuff, etc. So we're going to get into it now. One of the things we kind of want to start with is what is something that we really liked? What I think about Book of Boba Fett that is funny for me, I actually think I liked, except for one episode, I think I liked each episode individually. I think that they all had a lot of fun stuff going on. There were a lot of cool, interesting ideas and interesting additions to the Star Wars canon. I really liked the performances of the people who were in it. And the other thing is, I believe it was on Twitter, of someone being like, oh, I watched this with my dad and he had a great time. And I think it's like, it kind of reminded me that I'm like, people are just watching it because like, oh, look, there's Boba Fett. Like there's so much discourse and there's so much drama or whatever. But you forget most Star Wars fans are not deeply ingrained in the fandom and are not deeply ingrained on the internet. So there's so many people watching this who are just like, oh man, that was cool. And then moving along with their lives. And I think like anything that brings people together like that is just it's very exciting for me. And I thought this show kind of did seem to do that well.
What I liked about the show a lot was that with the exception of the bad episode, which we all agree is the bad one.
That's episode 3 for those listening along.
I had fun with it a lot of the time. I have my problems with it, obviously, but like towards the end of it, I was actually looking forward to watching it again. I feel like it wasn't like story-wise, okay. However, the character interactions it gave us a lot of times were very fun and I enjoyed them. And honestly, my biggest thing is I just liked learning and seeing a lot more about like Tatooine as a location, because people complain a lot about like, why are we back at Tatooine? But then when you think about it, it's a location we know remarkably little about, like actual planet-wise. So it was nice to see like the interactions that Boba has in his day-to-day life. I also just found it funny that he had to interact with like local government and like that was an issue for him.
I'll say this, as soon as the show finished, I wanted to read fan fiction, not just because I love Boba and Din together, but just because I was like, oh, I'm going to miss these characters. And that's a double-edged sword, obviously, that we'll get into, but I'm often a person who's like, oh, I really love when shows release week to week, because then, you know, more people can talk about it, whatever. I felt the opposite about this show, and I really felt like, oh, you know what? I really wish I could have watched all this show at once. I think I would have had a really different experience, you know, good or bad. There were a lot of just Star Wars-y moments that gave me just such a hit of serotonin that I haven't had in a very long time. So, you know, obviously on this podcast, we like to get into the nitty gritty because like we're being critical as a framework, but like I did enjoy myself for a lot of it. And I think like I'll also say this is one of the negative things. It was like when this show was announced, I didn't give half a shit. I was like, I mean, cool, I guess. He seems neat, but like, ugh. And then I was like, oh, I really want to know more about him. And all these other people who were introduced, I was like, oh, like I'm really interested. And I think that's also going to be part of one of the reasons that I didn't like it was that I'm like, oh, and I didn't learn much about them. Now I'm sad. But yeah, I think it really made me interested. That's how I feel about the sequels too. So
I think there's also something to be said. I think this can kind of go back to stuff being mired in like, especially for people, again, like people like us. And I know a lot of our listeners are like deep in the shits of like Star Wars fandom, especially on Twitter. And I think that when episodes release week by week, it does breed a lot of room for when you don't know where the story is going or for when something weird happens. Your first reaction is to go on Twitter and be like, hey, what was that? So now that everything's out and you don't have to worry about what's going on Twitter or what people are saying, it's a very different experience. Like, but anyway, but no, I completely agree with you. I think that I think it is kind of nice because I didn't unfortunately get to finish rewatching it, but I did like reread the summary of all the episodes in context of what's going on. And I think that it does feel a bit more cohesive when I have a full idea of where it's going. But I think maybe establishing that tone a little earlier would have been a little nice, but genuinely, like, I think it makes sense in context.
If we're talking about things that we liked, I did have fun. If I think about it, like, but when I think about it too hard, I wonder if I actually like the show. But it was like fun in the moment when I was watching. And I did enjoy seeing Boba and Fennec because I am gay and in love with both of them. I did enjoy Chrysanthemum appearing, like our one comic book character being like, hello, it's me and now I'm in live action. I guess I did really enjoy like the Mando stuff when I don't think too hard about what's going on with Boba, but it was fun, funky, fresh time. I did, since it is Wednesday today when we're recording, last night I was like, oh yeah, I have to watch it at midnight, but then I was like, wait, no, I don't have to watch anything tonight because the Book of Boba Fett ended last week. So it did feel weird again to not have anything to do at midnight. But yeah, it was a good time, I guess.
I have mixed feelings about this show. I don't know my final thoughts, if I'm going to be completely honest. I think that this conversation might help kind of formulate them. I haven't really thought about the show much since it ended, which, for better or for worse, I think that says something. I liked a lot of things about this show. I think that, like, there was a lot of potential, and while some of it saw itself to its fullest fruition, a lot of it didn't. And that's okay. Like, sometimes we just have to make peace with that. I like how grounded this show felt. I really felt ingrained in Tatooine. Unfortunately, every nice thing I say about this turns into a critique, so I'm gonna stop talking here in a minute. But like, I do feel like it was very grounded, and I feel like I have a better sense of Tatooine than I have had before. Because, like, yeah, like you said, Klaudia, like, we see it kind of vaguely. It is a set piece as opposed to a place, and it felt like a place this time.
Do we want to talk about things we didn't like?
I would love to.
Okay.
That came out wrong. But like, I guess I would just say I have more to say about criticism than I do about things I enjoyed about it, which is not necessarily a bad thing. I will say this. The biggest problem I had with the show from start to finish is I don't think that anyone walked into the show knowing what they wanted it to be. Like, every episode felt tonally all over the place and deeply, deeply confused about what story it actually wanted to tell. Until the only two episodes that did that even a little bit were Mandalorian episodes, which I feel were only as successful as they were because they had a lot less legwork to do in establishing characters, stories, etc., etc. So I guess my criticism there, and like, here's the thing. Some people really, really enjoy the spy kidsification of Star Wars. I do not. That's just like a fact about me. It's not like a bad thing that for the show to do, but like, just personally, I don't enjoy that because I didn't come to the show for that experience, for like the goofiness of it, I guess I would say, which is not to say it'd be better served at being like a grim, dark story or whatever. I'm not like, I wanted Mob Boss Boba. That's dumb. I enjoyed what we got. However, I think that tonally, it wasn't sure if it wanted to be like The Godfather or Spy Kids 3. And I think that tonal dissonance really made it hard to engage with it on any real level.
When you said that, I could really have a much larger and longer conversation about how that has been a lot of people's criticism of a lot of the Disney Plus shows and their worry about a lot of the future ones as well, especially ones that may deal with. And I remember people saying this about this show too, being like, hey, how are they going to do this on Disney Plus where they have so many restrictions, and that kind of thing. And it was interesting because I believe it was Kevin Feige who was talking about Moon Knight, and he was like, "Oh, we're doing stuff here that, you know, they were like, you know, can we do this on Disney Plus, whatever?" And it was like, okay, well, why didn't you do that with Book of Boba Fett? Not saying that it needs to be like Daredevil beating the shit out of people. Please, I did not want that. But it's I think that's very much, I'm always that person who loves to be like, let's talk about corporate strategy. But I think it's very much a thing of like, hey, this streaming service, this company, this whatever, they're still formulating their creative vision. And that's very clear throughout this. They're very much like, oh, we like this creator, let's throw them into the show, whatever. And sometimes it gels and sometimes it doesn't, which is fine. I'm okay with things not always being great, whatever. Again, it's been around for 45 years. Not everything's going to be great. But it is very weird to be like, okay, pick something. And I do like the spy kidsification of Star Wars, so we can agree on that.
Yeah, I do agree with you, Klaudia. Like, I enjoyed when it was goofy and I enjoyed that. And I like when Star Wars doesn't take itself super seriously. I think that there's a lot of parts of newer Star Wars that feels like it's taking itself not like super taking itself super seriously, but like it's just enough tonally, like where it's like, no, this is a serious thing, but there's going to be humor injected into it. And like Noah said, like this show struggles with that, like teetering that line. I have some critiques of this show, obviously. But I think my main one that I keep thinking back to is just kind of like, what are we taking away from this? Like, what was the main takeaway? Because I liked the idea of the story, the narrative that Boba goes through in this show. I think it's very interesting to see him as the person that I know him to be through watching all of the media and reading things and seeing things of like, okay, he is someone who is deeply lonely and troubled in that way, and he has found connection and community and value in that. But like, if you are just like a casual fan watching this, like, it's like, okay, this kind of badass dude, like, he's made some friends and that's cool. But like, if you hadn't seen Clone Wars, like, you'd have been like, Cad Bane is a gentleman who was here for 30 episodes and then passed away, saying some things interesting to Boba. Wish there was a prequel for that. And I think that is good and bad. It's interesting. I will also say that, like, there's so many characters in this show that were, like, interesting in the last episode, but I feel like we never found out information about them. I was really harping on the mods pretty hardcore during the course of this show, but like the last episode, I was like, oh, if you had been framed just a little bit different, and maybe once again, I was in a blind rage because of episode 3, like, maybe I would have picked up on those more, like, subtleties, but, like, also, maybe that just was bad writing. Maybe it was, and that's okay.
Much like a Pokemon, I feel like it hurt itself in confusion. That's my, like, that's my thesis of this show, is that I don't think it ever really knew where it wanted to go. And I also think that part of the reason it sort of shot itself in the foot was the length. Like, to my knowledge, correct me if I'm wrong, but they never called this a limited series at any point. So here's the thing. Like, a lot of people were like, The Mandalorian's better developed. And I'm like, yeah, he has like 22 episodes to do that. So you have the opportunity to create more of a narrative. Boba had 7, and that's like an insanely short period of time to tell any concrete narratives. Like, the thing about like the framing of the mods or the framing of any character on Tatooine, I'm like, we did not have enough time to deal with this.
Yeah, especially when there's 2 episodes that are away from Tatooine completely.
Exactly.
And away from Boba and his, like, overarching narrative. Of course, Din is integral to that story in the end, but, like, if this had been 8 episodes, if they had just had one more episode to talk about something else, get us just a little bit more information, make it a little bit more clear that those families were going to betray him, I think that the show would have been better.
Just for a point of clarification, the Mandalorian season 1 is 8 episodes, and the Mandalorian season 2 is 8 episodes, so it's still on the shorter side, towards that modern streaming TV thing, and many people have talked about the Netflix slump, all that kind of stuff that has produced TV like this, and that kind of thing. But yeah, so it's not full 22 episode kind of season sort of thing, but they were able to still work in that space.
And what I will say about that is that 2 of the episodes of the first season of The Mandalorian were not dedicated to Greef Karga and what he was doing. Right?
But they should have been.
They should have been. Welcome to the epic of Greef.
Are we doing Greek epic poetry again? Is that what we're going back to?
Guys, the Carol of Karga.
Oh my God.
Carol of the Karga Greef.
And I would watch that. I would watch it, stream it, listen to it. It'd become my top played song of the year. But I think, okay, first of all, clocking me for being a fake fan, because I fully did not remember the number of episodes in The Mandalorian. So proud of that. Many of the other girls could not say the same thing.
Well, I think that's a testament to that they did a good job, that it felt like a longer episodic
fair,
show.
Actually, I can see that.
It also might be just because there's 2 seasons out, but that might be a testament to the good writing.
And I think at the end of the day, it's like, you can do a lot in a short period of time. Some of my favorite shows of all time are limited series. Sharp Objects is one that comes to mind as like a personal favorite. But the thing about those stories is that they are like bolted down in terms of like airtight story. And Mel is totally right in the fact that, like, if you only have this many episodes and you spend literally 2 of them completely divorced from what's going on in your actual main plotline and your actual main characters, that's going to cause issues. That said, as a point of positivity, if you isolate those 2 episodes and I pretend they're just part of a different show, I did really like a lot of aspects of that. I loved seeing Cobb Vanth, and I loved getting more character development for him and Din, and I loved seeing all this stuff happening in that. But like, they were not like characters in the show. So it's very weird to have that much time devoted to them when they're not the leads.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think, first of all, it is like a third of the show is not about Boba Fett, really. And so that really harms it. Additionally, I think actually Cobb Vanth does add a lot to the story. I can't believe I am defending that white boy, but I am. Because I think that, like, if we once again had gotten to do like the more crime family, like just like going into like, here's a different part of Tatooine, that could have really established Joe as a character and gotten just a little bit more like, okay, so these are like this is the more rural community of Tatooine. We've talked about like the indigenous people of Tatooine, which them being killed the way that I think that the final scene where Boba kills Cad Bane, either A, Fennec shooting that motherfucker mid-sentence, or the Tusken warrior who we never saw a body for. Just
that's what I thought was gonna happen. Yeah. I thought she was gonna pop out the woodwork and be like, fuck you to Cad. I literally thought that was gonna happen.
Because this is also in my fanfiction, my AU of the Book of Boba Fett. Boba and Fennec realize that, like, leading Tatooine maybe is not their bag. They are like, hey, Tusken warrior woman that we're going to give a name. I'm going to call her Rachel for the sake of brevity. Hey, Rachel. Hey, Cobb Vanth. You guys should be working together as, like, the settler population and the indigenous population of Tatooine to reconcile that and create a better Tatooine. Anyways, bye. Like, okay. That would have been so Yasin Slay.
My OTP is Fennec and Rachel. That is
so powerful. But I do think like points have been made. When I said I loved seeing Cobb Vanth, I don't care what the plot about him is. I just like seeing him because he is my favorite white boy in Star Wars. But I do agree that he does add background to the story. Like he made like I said earlier about making Tatooine more than a set piece. He does do that. He, like Klaudia said in the chat, he makes more sense than Din just sort of appearing. Although
he makes more sense in this show than in The Mandalorian. Like,
this is true. And yeah, I think that it would have been really Yasin Slay if Rachel had shown up and just stabbed Cad Bane through the chest. Unfortunately, we did not see her. R.I.P. Rachel.
As a side note, Mel, can you give us what you would have done with this show? I want to hear your entire script doctored plot.
Are you guys ready for this? Okay. So we open.
I'm ready.
Boba comes out of the pit of the Sarlacc, gets his shit rocked. I'm fine with the Jawas and the Tuskens picking him up and being like, okay, teehee, you're with us now. Boba is like, what the fuck? And they're like, hey, fucked up, what happened to you? You look like you got hurted pretty bad. Would you like to be healed? And he's like, oh my god, sick. Yes, please, thank you. He like becomes an ingrained part of this community. There might be some tension because once again, he is an outsider and there's like some stuff there, but he like does the same shit where there's like the beast and he protects the child and they're like, you a real one for that. Instead of like doing the weird little fucking
lizard vision quest.
Yes, lizard vision quest. Instead, he's spent like a couple of years with this tribe, and so the child that he originally like helped out is having his own coming of age ceremony, and Boba gets to participate in that, kind of like Anakin going with the younglings after losing his lightsaber so many times. So then there's some stuff, I don't know if it's with like the with Bib and all that bullshit, but he's like, I have to go fix this shit, and they're like, that's cool, we don't fuck with those bitches, so like you feel free to go, we're just gonna kind of continue living our lives, see you later. Chekhov's Tusken is that little child. We go forward. The rest of the show can frankly happen, just the Tuskens aren't dead. Everything's fine, everything's cool. Very Yasin Slay. Boba talks to the mods, and the mods are established to be like, hey, we are like people who've been living in Mos Espa our entire lives. Like, this is the real shits. We're not like posers. We're in the shit. Because that's what they gave me the entire show until the last episode. We get to like explore Freetown a little bit as like, here's another place where like some little people live. Wouldn't it be crazy if the people in the rural communities and the city population work together to like, I don't know, stop the spice trafficking happening on this planet? So there's like some political upheaval there. The same family bullshit politics happens. We still get that shit. We just get some information as to why how the words said between the fucking Pikes and these people as to why they don't like Boba, whatever the fuck, doesn't matter. Then at the end, when Cad Bane rolls up, either A, once again, Fennec shoots him mid-sentence and is like, you are annoying as fuck. Anyways, I think maybe even, here's a concept. here's a big brain concept. Rachel and Fennec. In that final episode, Fennec is like, oh my god, I have to go kill the Pikes right fucking now. So she runs out and she's like, oh fuck, they're so far away. Rachel rides up on her little scooter and is like, get on, bitch, we're killing some bitches. They fucking clean the floor up, come back right in time for fucking Cad to be like, I'm gonna kill you, Boba Fett. Fennec shoots him and then Rachel fucking gets him with the gaffy stick and they like help him up or whatever and he's like, thanks girlies, and they're like, oh my god, so true, Boba. And that is the end of Book of Boba Fett.
Love that.
Rachel...
That's not the Book of Fett. That's the Bible of Boba Fett.
Yeah. No, Rachel and Fennec like teaming up and like wiping the floor. Like that's like, sorry to the Avengers Endgame, like he has us girls scene, but this would have been better. That is so, I also, and this was a Bane thing, so I'm glad you included this, was that Boba says at the end where he's like, you know, or I don't know, maybe he doesn't say it, I can't remember, but whatever, he's like, oh, it's, you know, not like
it's our Tatooine, not my Tatooine.
Our Tatooine.
Play an audiobook of the Communist Manifesto.
Yeah. No, like where he's like, oh, I learned like the power of community or whatever. Does he actually say it? I forget what the actual line is or whatever. It should have been that like the community came to help him. I think I said that last episode that it was super weird that in that moment where he was talking about like, yeah, I'm a changed person and it's like, you know, it's community that's important to me, whatever. He was alone. And the community was helping each other without him. So yeah, I think that would have been very Yas and Slay, and like that he doesn't need to like gunsling it out. But Mel, that's my Joker. Actually, I'm considering that my canon now.
No, I've decided to stop saying that's my Joker because I don't want to give any more clout to that stinky little man. I'm saying that it's my Super Bowl because I'm stealing straight culture. That is my Super Bowl. I think something that I think is very fun. I mean, to be fair, I would also argue that there is like the intention behind that whole sequence is that the reason that Boba is able to kill Cad Bane is that the rest of the community is dealing with everything else. And I think that's kind of like how I think it is intended to be interpreted, and obviously intention and actual interpretation and like delivery are all these totally different things. Because yeah, I do think that it could have been like a little bit more poignant. And I think there's definitely a level of like, how much do I want to be told what the lesson is supposed to be? That's also always kind of something to weigh, and like, who is your audience? But we are Star Wars fans. And I like them to tell me exactly what they are trying to tell me because I am not smart enough to understand it if they don't say exactly what it is. So I am a huge fan of like a wrap-up scene at the end where Boba's like, here's what I learned on the journey. But I think like it would have been, I actually really loved that last scene where they're walking through and they're having that conversation. I just wish there had been maybe just a little bit more of like the emphasis on like community, because I think that it is clear he was building like a team, but unfortunately, because we just didn't get to spend, what I would have liked is if one of those episodes about the Mandalorian and Din and everything had been about like the mods and Chrysanthemum working together.
It's the Avengers 2012 fanfiction towerification.
Okay, no, because here's what it is. It's the Avengers comics. It's not like it's the Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes version. It would have been nice to see like an episode of them and the Gamorreans and the mods and Black Chrysanthemum, and like Danny Trejo can be there in the background for a little shits and giggles. Just have like an episode of them. No, you know what this is? I've just had a realization. It's the Meiluron episode from Rebels.
Absolutely.
I think every show, every Star Wars show at least, should have an episode like that where they just do some bullshit and maybe they unravel something, but it's just some bullshit for building character and for showing like, hey, even though these guys might not seem like they get along, they do.
No, I completely agree. I think that even Din could have still been fucking in it. And like, I think it's I think David Filoni, I have my grapes with you. I like you enough. That being said, we didn't need to see Luke and Ahsoka in this show. We wicked didn't. If we had just gotten Fennec being like, hey girly, wanna work with us? Din being like, sick, yes. That would have been fine. And then we could have started Mandalorian season 3 with that episode with Din being like, can I have my baby, please? Like that. First of all, for people who didn't watch Book of Boba Fett and are just watching Mandalorian, like, how the fuck are they gonna be like, yeah, so Grogu's back, and also Din has this new cool little plane. Also, fuck you, he got hurted by the Darksaber. Let's
Here's
go.
what you missed on Glee.
Really?
Does everybody want to quickly go around and say their favorite episode or scene?
My favorite scene by far was definitely when Din goes up to Cobb Vanth and asks to buy him a drink, and then Cobb comments on his pretty smile. I would say that I was irrevocably changed in that moment. I felt the presence of God. Also, Boba riding a Rancor was pretty fucking epic on like all levels.
My favorite episode probably is still episode 2, but I think overall my favorite scene in the whole show was Din and Boba fighting with like side by side, kicking ass when Din at one point fell over and Boba ran up behind him and kind of like was like, hey, let me help you up. There is just Din Djarin interacting with any character is just like, Din, you're very shippable. Also, Pedro Pascal, thank you for supporting Din Cobb. Now someone draw Din with Boba, Fennec, and Cobb, and then tag Pedro Pascal and see if he'll like it or repost it. I'm sure he would.
For context, for those at home, Pedro Pascal reposted some Din Cobb fan art onto his Instagram story. It's not the first time he has supported the LGBT, but it was just blatant ship fan art. He followed the artist, liked the post that said, the caption said something about Careless Whisper, and then he reposted the version of it. The artist did 2 versions, one with Din wearing the helmet and one without, and he reposted the one without the helmet. So Pedro Pascal said, I roll with the LGBT.
He also did like a tweet during season 2, I believe, of Raul Coley's that was a gif of Cobb Vanth, and it said, breastfeed me, daddy. So, you know.
I will say this. He is friends with Oscar Isaac, who famously was like, yeah, I made it a little gay. What are they gonna do? Fire me? And I'm becoming convinced that this man and Timothy Olyphant were like, fuck it, we're just gonna make it fruity. Like, what are they gonna do? Fire me? And we could damn well tell, because that scene that Noah mentioned, dear God.
What was your favorite scene, Klaudia?
Oh, my favorite scene was the same as Jess. As you guys know, we've discussed before, I was not a Boba Din shipper, but now I am. That scene, I think I ascended to another plane of existence. Them having their little conversation that was essentially Mandalorian marriage vows, and then having their little fan service fight. I became the Joker, I became a different person, and then him like saving him a couple times, and I was like, this is everything. It's this stupid little cape. I'm gonna think about it forever. And they I think about it all the time.
I will say, speaking of shipping Boba Fett with characters, this show did radicalize me into being a Bobenic shipper. I was not all that interested in their relationship prior to this. However, I believe it was Noelle Stevenson who drew a bunch of like little comics of them hanging out together, and like just seeing them in the show, I was like, here's the thing. Their performance does have like big husband and wife energy. And I really appreciated that. I was like, your guys' vibes are immaculate. I very much am like, Fennec would make breakfast in bed for you. Like, I really appreciated that.
No, Boba would make breakfast in bed for Fennec. Let's be clear. Let's be honest.
They both wake up early and make breakfast in bed for each other, and then no one gets breakfast in bed because they're both already in the kitchen.
Actually, the Gamorreans get the breakfast in bed.
Like, I live in revisionist history where they live.
Din makes breakfast for both of them.
You guys, no, the Gamorreans are fine. Their asses are so fat when they hit the ground, they just bounce off.
Just like, okay, this is a deep cut, but have you guys seen Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer?
Yes.
Do you guys know at the end when Yukon Cornelius and the abominable snowman fall off the edge, and they think that like they fall off the edge of a cliff, and everyone thinks that they're dead. And in the end, Yukon Cornelius shows up, and they're like, "How did you survive the fall?" And he's like, "Oh, you guys don't know? Bumbles bounce." That is like the Gamorreans.
I love that you said this is a deep cut and then listed arguably one of the most famous Christmas stories in American history.
Listen, it's not about the story. It's about this specific scene because I think about the way he says that so often. Anyway, that's not a part important. Speaking of though on them, Mel, you had proposed something that was a name for the ship that is Boba Fennec, Din, and Cobb Vanth, who's now like also I think gets to be folded into that polycule. Do you want to tell the audience what you said that?
I did enter a fugue state, so I don't remember.
You said no, but you said I was trying to think of a good way to combine them, and I've seen a couple people do so. I know Anna at Order 66 Fries on Twitter did combine all their names. You said the first family of Tatooine.
That's
and
so powerful.
I can't stop thinking about that.
I love
that is so good. But my favorite moment, I've got a couple. I'm like, it's so hard for me to pick a favorite anything because I just constantly am changing because I'm going to think of something as soon as I say this and then be like, oh, wait, there's two scenes that come to mind. The first one is when Chrysanthemum is in Sanctuary and he keeps looking over at the Trandoshan and then he's about to like beat the shit out of the Trandoshan and Garsa's like, hey girly, you're a boy boss, you don't need to do this. And then he was like, okay, and just ripped his arm off. And then Boba was standing there like, oh, okay. Like that scene was so fun. And I think it was one of the scenes that really made me feel like Tatooine was a place. The other scene that I think is one of my favorites, it's got to be when we see Cad Bane for the first time, because despite being like, oh, it's kind of crazy that they're bringing him in the 11th hour. I am a Clone Wars fan. I watched Clone Wars growing up. When we saw Cad Bane, the child in me, the child who loved Clone Wars, saw that and said, oh my gosh, the guy from Clone Wars who like held all those senators hostage, who like beat the shit out of Obi-Wan Kenobi and Quinlan Vos, like that guy, he's here and he's real. And it's just, it's weird to see the things you grew up with feel like legitimized and brought into like popular culture in a broader sense. And it's like, it's so weird and it's so exciting. And I felt like a little kid, and that I just loved that. So even if it's, and like the showdown with Cobb Vanth where he's like, hey, you can go fuck off. And Cad Bane's like, actually, I think you're a bitch for that.
It was the most popular girls in school. Who the fuck are you? Who the fuck are you? I asked you first.
Yeah.
Is that
oh my god, the deputy that got shot 1,000 times, he was supposed to be watching the door.
Can I just say, if a single one of those girlies were at Euphoria High, show is over.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
If any of them were on Tatooine, they would have stopped the bikes.
I'm sorry, but I'm just saying any of the most popular girls in school could literally have annihilated Darth Sidious in 4 seconds flat. The Clone Wars would not have happened.
Hey, you were the Pikes or the Van Burens. The mayor is Shay Van Buren.
Every time I see Grogu, oh my god, is that a fucking gremlin?
My favorite part of this show was episode 2, The Tribes of Tatooine. I stand by it when I say my favorite piece of Star Wars visual media is Rogue One, but the second one is Tribes of Tatooine. Is it very particularly Star Warsy? Kind of, but also no, and that is so good. Steph Green, every piece of television you have directed has been kind of fire, so I need to see you here more.
Oh, I think we wanted to talk about if Fennec and Boba are gonna leave Mos Espa or not.
Okay, I'm gonna say something. I just don't. I feel like they should just stay there and be cute and kiss.
I personally did not think that they were gonna leave, but then everyone was like, "Oh, they are," and I was like, "Oh."
My thing about it is that I've entered this era of my life, like technically, spiritually, physically, emotionally leveling up, where I no longer want to speculate about anything ever again.
Wait, is that my impact?
I think it might be because at this point, I personally people are like, "What do you think's gonna happen?" And I'm like, "I don't know." That's crazy.
Not to be like not to be philosophical or anything, but in me like hey guys, don't do free marketing for Disney when you're like, where's my trailer, where's my whatever, let me speculate, whatever. I did, for a funny little meme, look for when Yoda is like, oh, always staring into the horizon you are, every time he says that to Luke. And then I did kind of get like choked up a little bit, and I was like, yeah, like I think, hey, that's actually a real philosophy that people should actually think about, whether it's about entertainment or not, but specifically about entertainment. Like, appreciate what you have now and enjoy what you have now. And then when the new thing comes, it'll be really great and exciting. And then we'll get to talk about it when it comes, and don't stress yourself over it right now.
I will say that, like, Daniel José Older's Midnight Horizon did do irreparable, whatever the fuck, however you say that word, positive impact on my brain, where I was like, there is no path forward other than the one that I make. It's fine. I've made peace with my God. Let's go.
Speaking of Midnight Horizon and our final thoughts on Book of Boba Fett, we're going to talk about Midnight Horizon next week. However, I did want to say there were a lot of, surprisingly, all the things that people wanted or liked out of this show, but that maybe didn't stick the landing on this show. All of the things that people really liked or wanted or whatever, like 99% of those things were in Midnight Horizon from Phase 1 of The High Republic by Daniel José Older. Let me give it to you a little bit. Talking about the current politics of a city, Jedi magic, and what does it mean to choose to be a Jedi or not? The people who actually like live on the ground in the city having to deal with the politics of the powerful and crime syndicates and assassins and bounty hunters and
asking for help.
Being a person who's gone from I'm just about the credits and I'm just out for myself to becoming this is about my community. Gay people, respecting people of color. Truly, everything you wanted out of the Book of Boba Fett, it's in Midnight Horizon by Daniel José Older. It was really weird because also I finished Midnight Horizon like right before the second to last episode of the Book of Boba Fett, so it was like a weird experience. But that was just like my last thought. I was like, oh, they were weirdly similar.
Do you want to lead us into Clone Watch?
I mean, overall, this show, we had Boba Fett, and he in fact is a clone. So that's already like putting Book of Boba Fett as like a win. But then for other clones, we did briefly see our good friend Appo. You know, Appo, who everyone knows. I especially knew who Appo was, right? Yeah. We saw Appo and some other 501st clones. And so Book of Boba Fett is a win in our book, but it is also an L because I didn't see Cody, and Lucasfilms release Cody into my custody. You don't deserve him.
We are on our RuPaul's Pod Race is on their way to collect Cody at the Lucasfilms headquarters. We're going to the ranch. We are going to get Cody.
Yeah, he better be in boxes by the time I come back.
Clearly Cody is not in a good environment, and
yeah,
you need to put him. He needs to be in boxes by the end of the day.
So we did ask for Book of Boba Fett questions on our social medias. However, we have been recording for rapidly approaching 2 hours, and we're feeling a little silly and goofy. So instead, we are just going to answer one question. We kind of talked about other ones in our larger discussion. But most importantly, one Twitter user, Unexpected Path, asked, why did they not give the Twi'lek Majordomo a name? If he had a name, what would it be?
I actually have two answers, but I think the main answer is that they wanted to avoid confusion. Because his name is Djarin, and they just didn't want to say it and then have it be like, which din are we talking about? You know, like they just didn't want it to be a thing. So that's probably why they didn't say it in the show.
Okay.
But that's actually true. Dave Filoni actually told me.
Oh. Well.
Yeah. So I'm sorry I cut this segment short, but
okay, well,
there is an answer.
My
other answer that what I would name him, if it was up to me, if that wasn't true, I think his name should be Percy because he looks like a Percy to me.
No, get out.
So, okay. He canonically went to college, right? Because he sounds like he went to a fucking, like, the most liberal arts college on Earth.
Did he
Sorry,
go to, like,
in space.
Did he go
Went to American
women's
University.
college? Did he go to a women's college?
Okay, actually, grad school student who goes to a historically women's college, that makes a lot of sense for his character.
That checks out so hard
That
on
checks
so many
out.
levels. So in that case, I feel like his name might be
No.
Dan, possibly Benjamin, and he goes by Benjamin.
I think he went to
Or
like Emerson.
Stephen. Okay, Stephen really fits to me.
He's yeah.
That's very funny that you say
Goes by
Steven.
Steve.
No,
No, I think
No,
goes by
no.
Steven.
Steven with
He
a
goes-
PH.
Yeah, he goes by Stephen, and also he signs all of his things with his middle name included, whatever it is.
Stephen
Like,
Allen.
Stephen B. Henderson is how he has monogrammed pillows and ropes.
The middle name is Benjamin.
Yeah, Stephen
Who-
Benjamin Henderson.
Quickly, who do you think would have been his roommate in college?
Fennec Shand.
Hey guys, how old do we think that guy is? How old do we think the Majordomo is? Because I've just had a horrible realization.
Let's say he's like the same
24.
age
Hey guys, quickly.
Anakin Skywalker.
Luke Terry.
Guys, I need you to listen. Stay with me. What if, hey, do we know if Hera's brother is older or younger? Because if her brother's older, maybe he didn't die. He just got kicked out of the family for being a liberal arts major. And that's Hera's brother.
Nar.
Wait, so you're saying that they are radical leftists and they kicked out their,
Yes,
their
that's
brother
ex-
because he was a liberal?
Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. I think that he is Hera's secret older brother who got kicked out of the family.
What I find the most upsetting about this entire discussion is that, like, you said that Dave Filoni told you that piece of information, and I don't think that he would lie. Like, I feel bad because I hate to tell you that I think Dave Filoni lied to you, but he
What?
didn't write this. He didn't write this show.
Well, yeah, but
No. But Jon Favreau did, and I had a conversation with Johnny Boy, my good friend.
Well, you call him Johnny Boy, so definitely you guys are definitely real friends.
We're definitely real friends who are
you.
very close.
You wouldn't call him that if you weren't actually friends.
He meant to consult me on this show, but then he forgot that I am alive. Anyways, I do think that the Major Domo's name is Brent.
What if the Majordomo's name was Beach from Old?
No.
We can't go back there.
We can't go back to our roots like this.
Anyway.
No. The Major Domo's name was M. Night Shyamalan. That's why they couldn't say it. 'Cause...
Oh my god, guys, why don't the Majordomo? His name.
His name is Jon Favreau.
I was just gonna say his name is George Lucas.
Why did I think you were going to say his name's Jordan Peele? I don't know why I thought you were going to say
Wow,
His
yeah,
name is
Jordan-
Jordan Peterson.
Concept.
Oh my god, his name is Skrillex.
Concept. His name is Warner.
He looks like
I can see that.
after
Okay.
Werner Herzog.
Exactly.
Okay, I do feel like, because here's my thing. I know that he comes from an upper class, like family who all goes to college, but he has to be the weakest link in that family. So hear me out.
Wait,
Mel, if you could do me a huge favor and quickly list the main siblings of the Succession family.
Okay, Kendall, Shiv, Roman, and then there's the other one who's older, and he's the half sibling, and I forgot his name. Connor?
I think that is who the Majordomo is, that last one there.
Connor?
hear me out. He went to college. Legally Blonde AU.
Where he's Warner?
I think
That is why I said Warner, because I was referencing Legally Blonde, but none of
Oh
you
my
got it.
god.
I'm
I didn't
okay,
hear it.
because
I
here's the
didn't hear
thing.
it.
I thought it was a Legally Blonde reference, but then I was like, no one else is saying anything.
But does he have the same energy as the love interest guy, the one who's like,
No. Emmett.
No.
Get
Okay, can I say this though? Because here's the thing. He is not necessarily slay enough to be the Elwoods of his own
Oh,
story.
no.
No.
However,
But he's not-
however, I am extremely tickled by the concept of him turning around and being like, Chutney, why is it Tracy Marcinko's curls were ruined? Like, come on. Tell me that so he might not be the
That's him
Elwoods
in-
of his own story, but he would body her in the Broadway production of Legally Blonde.
because that is exactly it.
Tatooine Community Theater production of Legally
Yes,
Blonde.
and oh my god, and they're like wielding a one person with curly hair and Pelly. It's Pelly, and he's like, that's the only person he can do the scene with because they're friends, so he doesn't get anxiety from talking to her.
Quickly,
The
if we're
idea of-
casting Legally Blonde on Tatooine, who plays who? Go.
Boba is Elle Woods.
Absolutely. No,
The
I
red
was
horse
literally
is
done
fucking...
this TikTok. I'm not wearing that again. I'm wearing this.
Can Cloud Vance be Brooke Wyndham? Is this a thing that we're allowed to do?
Absolutely. And
Okay.
The people of Freetown, they're the ones who do the jump rope number.
Who is saying that someone looks like the 4th of July? Who is getting the damn dog? Quickly.
What's her name?
Djarin.
Not
Okay,
Oh my God.
but hear me on this.
He goes to Luke and he's like, I'm taking the damn dog. And the dog is Grogu.
But can I just say this? I believe on a truly unironic, deep level, bodied in reality, that if Din Djarin were played by Jennifer Coolidge, Emmys would be dispensed immediately.
Absolutely.
This is the way.
Also, I think that Pedro Pascal could also play that role. I think they could
I'm so
I'm
sorry.
sorry,
Pedro,
but I'm
I
just
love you,
thinking
but
about-
he couldn't. No.
No.
How dare he try to stand where she stood?
Okay,
Klaudia,
because
this is a
here's the
gay
thing.
podcast. I'm kicking you off if you say more goofy shit like that.
Here's the thing. Jennifer Coolidge could wield the Darksaber with ease, but Pedro Pascal could not do the bend and snap and break a male guy's nose.
Thank you once again so much to Twitter user Unexpected Path. We sure did take an unexpected path in that conversation. I need to talk about something.
Oh gosh, are we getting canceled?
I'm asking that everyone quickly unmute themselves.
Oh my
Okay,
God, guys, I think Mel is gonna this is the staff meeting where Mel finally fires all of us.
I know what's coming, and it's really good.
I love the HRification of RuPaul's Pod Race.
I feel like I've gotten called into my boss's office.
I'm not firing anyone. I'm not canceling anyone. I need to read an email that we received. As you may know, on episode 34 of this podcast, we had a segment called eBay Adventure.
Oh my God.
I have not an update, but a companion piece to it.
Oh my
Are
God.
you ready?
Oh
I'm
my
ready.
God.
Okay.
This comes from Kelly. Shout out. Thank you, Kelly. Thank you for listening.
Oh my God, thanks, Kelly.
Thank you, Kelly. Kelly just immediately gets into it. Okay, I can't remember if this is the correct email address to contact y'all, but I was listening to episode 34 of the podcast, and during the eBay section, you described a very familiar item, a life-size Anakin Skywalker statue.
Oh my God.
I need you to know that I know this statue. In high school, I was on the swim team, and we had morning practice at the... I'm going to bleep that out just so I don't dox this person. Boys and Girls Club. This statue lived behind the front desk there, and when I would walk in at 5 a.m. to go to practice, I would stare mindlessly at it. It took me like weeks to actually register that it was Anakin because he was wearing goggles and because I was so tired. Then my coach slipped and fell down the stairs and broke his leg. And the Boys and Girls Club wouldn't let us practice there anymore because my coach only had one leg and they were afraid of getting sued for not being accessible or something. I don't know. I was 15. So I never saw Anakin again. I don't know if it's still there because it was like 16 years ago, but I hope it is. Anyways, if this is the correct email address, please let me know. Boys and Girls Club pic attached below. I'm going to send you this picture.
Oh!
Get him away.
That is terrifying. Are you kidding? I'm at 5 a.m. You're leaving swim practice, and that's
Well, we know why the coach broke his leg. It's right
pushed
there.
Energy of that
Just like
Anakin broke his
Mannequin.
leg.
Order 66.
Okay, this is all to say that welcome to my new segment. I wanted to call it like Flat Stanley Anakin or something, like flat
Stanlekin.
Anakin?
Flat Stanikin. Anyways, if you or a loved one knows of where one of these fucking Anakin statues are, please email us at roophelpspodrace@gmail.com.
Okay.
We have to collect them.
Yeah, we have to collect them.
COVID-19 to stop COVID-19.
Okay, wait, to clarify, how many of these in the world are there?
I believe
They're a
there's
finite number.
250.
250? Let me quick check.
I could have just totally
One
pulled
down, 249 to
Have we
go.
entered our geocaching era?
that. Geocaching.
Of all the things I expected this mystery email to be, because for context, Mel did tell us earlier, like, don't look in the RuPaul's email because we got something. And I was like racking my brains to think of what it could be. Never once did I consider it would be an Anakin statue broke my swim coach's leg when I was 15 years old, and I think it might still be there.
I need you all
liked
to
it.
know.
We need to say allegedly broke their swim code. The Anakin statue allegedly broke their
We don't want to get
Swim coach's
sued
leg
by the
for-
Anakin Statue Union.
for legal reasons.
I need you all to know when this happened, like, because I was looking at my phone when the email came in, so I immediately clicked on it because I was like, what is this? I was in a Michael's craft store and then losing my mind because I was like, holy shit, there's a fucking Anakin statue and this person's coach broke their leg.
Kelly, if you can give us an update, that would be much appreciated. That being said, there are 275 of them, so we know where 2 of them are.
This is like national treasure.
This is my Nick Cage era.
When we've
Welcome.
collected them all, we can stop COVID-19.
COVID-19, yeah. Dr.
Yeah.
Fauci, watch the fuck out.
What is Joe Biden's plan to collect the Anakin statues and destroy them?
For those
Okay.
who don't remember, in the time when we did have this segment with these statues, we said that it is a reference to the High Republic, where there are some statues that keep the dark side at bay and the Drangir at bay, and that these are the equivalent of that for COVID-19. For if you maybe are not caught up.
I have terrible news. I think this is the reason that like the last 22 years have been so dog shit.
Is this why we're in the Berenstain universe instead of the Berenstein universe?
Exactly.
I
This is
can't
our
believe
multiverse
that-
of madness.
I really can't believe that Anakin Skywalker statues allegedly did 9/11. That's so sad.
Multiverse of sadness.
So true. Anyways, once again, if you can tell me where, for example, as a child, my public library, in the children's section, this is the reason I had to skip to chapter books and not read picture books, is because they had a terrifying life-size figurine of Dobby on top of the shelves.
Why?
So out of fear, I could not go to that section, so I simply skipped and went to chapter books because I couldn't do it.
Dear God.
So this is to
So
say,
much to think about.
if you have a scenario wherein you know where an Anakin statue is,
J.K.
you have a
Rowling
legal-
violence against trans people from the beginning.
yeah, you have a legal obligation to email us at rootpopspadres@gmail.com. Please do. I need to find these little gentlemen.
Also,
Bring him
if you
home.
do, put something in the subject heading so that we don't all open it and look at it because it
Oh,
spoils
yeah.
the surprise.
Yeah. Also followed by
For Mel's eyes only.
for Mel's eyes only. The title of the email was "Important Anakin Statue Information."
Which is exactly what it was.
I could call the Boys and Girls Club and ask if they still have it and offer to buy it.
No, this is like that episode of the My Brother and Me show with
Yes!
and they call the cult.
Yes! Yes! Exactly! Exactly!
Okay, I'm sorry, but Ollie, if you purchase that, you do bear its curse
I
until
know.
it's
Yeah,
destroyed.
No, but okay,
You have
but
to
I'd
collect
rather
them
bear the
all and
curse because
cleanse
I
it.
understand what the curse is.
That's
There's people out there who have these
White
statues
people
and they
always
don't
say
know.
White people always say that at the beginning of horror movies, Ollie. You can't.
Okay, maybe I am fulfilling stereotypes.
This is just like in Supernatural.
Oh my god.
It is though.
How are we in negative days since the last supernatural nonsense?
That was Noah.
Isn't it fun that I perpetrated it this time? What a twist,
Hey.
right?
Noah, you should watch the Supernatural anime.
Noah, to be fair though, that is something
Learning
that
about
definitely
that-
happened.
I
I got the fucking Supernatural anime from our bestie Rebecca Pencil Scratch and made me feel insane.
Hey guys, I think that I should call them tomorrow morning and ask if I can purchase the Anakin statue if they have it in their lobby.
Please do. Just be
How
like,
much
"Hi."
money
I mean,
are you willing to spend?
I would say, can I buy it for $250? And if they say no, I will go up from there.
So
'Cause
I think you should start at 274 because that's how many Anakin statues that we don't sorry, 273 because that's how many dollars worth of Anakin statues we don't know where they are.
Hello, and welcome to our favorite segment, Name That Ship, where we go through the wild of AO3 and find fan fiction that has an interesting concept, an interesting ship, and we make each other guess what it is. This is all in good fun. This is to celebrate the medium of fan fiction. So please do not seek out these fics. Please do not bully anybody. And if you'd like to send us fics for this, if you find something on your journeys, we actually now have a submission form. We'll be putting it in the episode notes. And you can choose which one of us you want to send it to, and send it really easily. so that we don't miss anything. Today I have a fic that, let's see, it was sent to me before, but it was also sent to me in the form from AC Lee on Tumblr. It is tangentially related to the Book of Boba Fett, which is why I bring it today. The relationships are minor character A, character B, minor character C, character D. So there's 2 ships. The characters are character A. I'm not going to give the second one because that'll give it away. Character C, Jaster Mariel. Character D, character B, Dooku. Original Mandalorian characters, Sarasi, who I believe is from Legends. Additional tags: alternate universe, time travel, forced shenanigans.
Hey, is one Djarin?
Hold on. Character A takes character I didn't name before because it would give it away to Tython to find Jedi, and he finds them. But this was not what he expected. Character A, stuffing foundlings into his spaceship like they're like they're breadsticks at an Olive Garden.
No.
Get the kids out.
Story, wait, hold on. Story is more serious than tags suggest. Found family, Mandalorian culture, Mandalorian character C, planet Melododon, planet Tatooine, averting galactic disaster accidentally, the time traveling way, time travel. It's a part of a bunch of collections, so let's begin.
So Melododon, that already is Obi-Wan Kenobi involved?
Yes, he's character C.
So it's character B and character C and character A and character B. Is one Jango Fett?
Yes.
Is he in the first ship or is it him and Obi-Wan?
It's him and Obi-Wan. It's minor
Okay.
Obi-Wan and / Jango Fett is the second ship.
Is Jango the one putting them in his ship? Putting the kids in his ship like breadsticks?
No. That would be character A.
That's
Are
character A.
either of the first characters Mandalorians?
Yes.
Din Djarin is character
Yes.
A.
Yes, it is Din Djarin /
Get away
character.
from them. They're so much older than
Is
him.
it? Hey, is it?
Hold on. No, I'm sorry. It's 2 separate ships. They're not a polycule. So
Okay.
Is character B Luke Skywalker?
No.
I just
But they
have,
always-
is it Anakin? Din Djarin?
Is
They're
it
a
Darth
Sky-
Vader? Is
They're
it
a
Darth?
Skywalker.
Is it
Is it-
Leia?
No.
Is it Padme?
No.
Is it Rey
Shmi?
Skywalker?
It's
Din Djarin and Shmi Skywalker?
Okay.
Hold on. So it's minor Din Djarin / Shmi Skywalker, minor Obi-Wan Kenobi / Jango Fett. Here is the summary. So Ahsoka Tano told Din to bring Grogu to the Seeing Stone on Tython, and Grogu would be able to call out to other Jedi. Ahsoka Tano did not say that other Jedi might call out to him or that the Pillar of Blue Light was actually a type of planetary transportation. Din ends up on a planet he's never heard of with nothing but his armor and his child. A lot has changed but his mandate hasn't. He must return Grogu with one of his kind. But first, he has to help these I think there's a typo, win a civil war against some Mandalorian word that I don't remember. I think it's an insult, who abandoned them, aka Din goes back in time and doesn't realize it. He meets some other Mandalorians, gains another child, and then goes to Tatooine because it's familiar enough to be called home.
Not to say that all roads lie back to Into the Dark by Claudia Gray, but this is just like an Into the Dark when Silas gets yeeted off of Max's seat.
God damn it.
Okay, but that is
So true. The Wreath Silicification of Din Djarin.
yeah.
I almost just called him Dean Djarin.
Actually, the Wreath Silas to Din Djarin is actually a really good pipeline.
No. Can we go back to when Ollie called Din Djarin Dean
No,
Djarin?
because I almost called him Dean Winchester and I didn't want to say it.
He is a wayward son, and he does have a car that is very old, and he does eventually adopt a child.
When does
God,
You're
fucking
so-
Kelly Moto is John Winchester.
And you're
Kelly
so
Moto.
brave for saying that, but you should keep it to yourself next time.
The armorer is John Winchester.
Wait, hold on. This does imply that Grogu does become God.
I fucking hate it here. I hate it here. I hate it here.
Anyways,
We need to.
Okay.
No, we
Noah,
can't
can you-
do this.
Noah-
Did you guys
Yeah.
know that? Did you guys know that Dean Winchester raises a child with Castiel that becomes God?
No, and I didn't want to know. Noah, tell us about your fan fiction.
Okay,
Sorry.
so this is actually kind of on brand for today, which is very funny to me because that was unintentional, yet it happened. There are 3 ships in this. I am confident in the fact that I cannot give you any one of them without it at least hinting at other characters involved. So I will just say this. All of these characters are from about the same era. They have all interacted in canon together at one point or another. So that's your one hint.
Okay.
The other characters that are not in the ships are Armored Edge Hugs, Dooku / Darth Tyrannus, C-3PO, R2-D2, Darth Maul, alternate universe, witches, witch hunters, witchcraft, Roman Catholicism, Christianity, Christian character, Halloween, period typical homophobia, familiar spells and enchantments, Samhain, souls, dreams, dream sharing, wild hunt, wish curses.
Supernaturalification once
The
again.
summary is as follows. After years of dreams and visions, character A finally meets his soulmate, character B, in person. The problem is that character B is a witch hunter and character A is a witch.
Kylo Ren and Rey Skywalker.
You are close. Kylo Ren is one of them in the first ship. Remember, there
Okay.
are
Yeah,
three.
So it's
Is it
not him with Rey
Rose
and it's
Tico?
not with Hux?
It is
Please.
not with Rey. It's not with Rey. It's not with Hux. It's not with Rose.
Rose
Tell me it's not Poe Dameron.
It is Poe Dameron.
Mother!
So that's
So wait,
the first
who
one.
is the witch?
Kylo Ren is the
Kylo
witch.
Ren, obviously.
Okay, I had to make sure. So it's
Okay.
is one Finray?
No, Finn
Is it
is
Finn?
not in this one.
Is
So
it
they're all secret
Finn is not in it?
No!
No,
okay,
he
cool.
is
Okay,
not.
wait, stop.
But
stop.
Count Dooku is.
Wait,
So there are
Yeah.
still two other ships in this. They are all characters who, while three of them are not definitively sequel characters, they all appear in the sequels.
Han Solo.
That is one of them.
Is
Leia?
this Han Luke?
No,
Okay, that
On Leia?
Chewbacca?
it is Han Leia.
Oh,
Han Leia is one of them. Chewbacca
you went with
is in.
Chewbacca before you went with
Chewbacca
Leia?
is also in the third ship.
Is it
So
Maz?
Maz Kanata!
Is it what? It is Maz Kanata.
Wait, Witch Hunter
Sauce
Maz
McGon, I'm
Kanata.
so sorry.
So,
This
and
happened
here's
to your
the thing that I
girlfriend.
need you to understand that drove me up the wall about this, because the concept is fine. I would like you to guess how many words this fic has.
800,000.
Okay, you're a little bit overshooting there. Let's try to go lower.
600,000.
This is
I'm
why
gonna
we
say
suck.
200,000. 200,000.
No, but you're closer.
100,000.
It has 97,137 words. It is
Whoa.
20 chapters long.
Holy
Whoa,
shit.
those are very
And
long
you
chapters.
couldn't fit Finn in there once.
So here's the thing that I would like to ask, though, because I did not even read this fic. I just read Christianity and Christian character and said, I have to bring this to podcast immediately. What is Count Dooku doing here? What is Craig
Affleck.
Jeremy Dooku doing in
can
this
you-
fan
He's the
fiction?
priest. I guarantee you he is the homophobic priest.
Can you quickly skim through and find while we
No,
wait for
because this
Jess?
is a screenshot and I do not want to go back and find it. There are not, this may shock you, there are not that many fics in the Star Wars all media types X Catholicism tag. I would also like you to know that when you go to type Christianity into the search bar, the first thing that comes up unironically is bottom Jesus Christ, parentheses Christian Bible.
them.
So good.
For them.
Oh, I love they them pronouns for Jesus.
Are we all ready for my
Mhm.
fic that I'm bringing? Okay, just to close this out. This is a polycule, character A, character B, and character C. Additional tags include snippets, illustrations, pining, sex, clawing, healthy relationships, light, dominant, submissive, femdom, fluff, so much fluff, heartbreak, self-blame, fertility issues, Obi-Wan with flowers in his hair, playing hooky, almost, no guy was made for gold eyeliner like this guy, character C in soft sweaters, because he deserves soft sweaters, portrait studies, impromptu dissection of leeches, all off screen, long-suffering undergrad.
Okay, so none of these characters is Obi-Wan.
Correct.
Is this prequel era characters?
Yes.
I'm assuming this is some kind of like graduate school AU
Here's the thing, it's crazy.
dissection of leeches.
It's crazy because the series that it's a part of is called Game of Thrones and then A Planet.
Is
So-
Quinlan Voss here?
Quinlan Voss is not here.
Oh,
Okay,
shit.
are any of them Boba Fennec or Din?
No.
Is one Commander Cody?
No.
Is one a
Is
clone?
this-
No. No clones.
Is it all men or is
No.
it okay? Wig.
Jedi?
How many women are there?
There's one woman and there are no Jedi.
Bounty hunters?
No bounty hunters.
Is one
Padme?
of them Cobb Vanth?
Not Padme, not Cobb Vanth.
These are prequel characters. No.
I don't know. He could have
Wait,
time
so-
traveled.
Has this character appeared in only live action, or are they in the Clone Wars?
All of them except for one have been in the Clone Wars and in live action.
the Clone Wars and live action? Were they in the prequel movies? Okay, so I'm thinking of non-Jedi who were in the prequels.
Django?
No.
Oh.
Okay.
Bail Organa.
Yes, Bail Organa is one of them.
Is one Brea.
Yes,
and it's one other woman.
And no, it is not another woman.
Is a man?
Yes.
Okay, are they a human?
No.
Admiral Akbar!
Not Admiral
What the
Akbar.
Why would it be
Klaudia.
Akbar?
My favorite prequel character, Admiral Akbar.
I don't
No, he is in the Clone Wars.
Is Darth Maul one of them?
Yes, it is Darth
That was a joke. That was a fucking joke.
Shit,
We've had this shit before because
Okay.
when Maul was Leia's like master in that one fic from like a year ago.
Okay, wait. Who is dissecting leeches?
Thank you so much for joining us this week for RuPaul's Pod Race. Episodes usually drop on Sundays. Join us next week. We have a very special episode dedicated to Midnight Horizon. We have a very special guest that you will not want to miss. For updates, Star Wars news, and more cursed shit, follow us on social media at RuPaul's Pod Race on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. If you really love the show, please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts, Podchaser, Spotify, Overcast, or wherever you get your podcasts. But it really means a lot to us. We really appreciate it. May the Force be with you, and don't crick it up.
Waka
Waka
waka.
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 Waka waka.